If your business isn't growing as fast as you want to, and it's because you never seem to have enough time, this is the number one thing you can do right now to turn that whole thing around. My name is Max Action, and I coach business owners just like you to take massive action and start growing your business in the fastest way possible. Now, many business owners believe that they would get more done if they just had more time. But when I have my clients start tracking what they do during the day and then take a look at it, they start realizing and are shocked at the habits that they're doing that are sucking the most amount of time out of their day. I'm guilty of doing this too. I took my own advice and started marking down exactly what I did during the day. And then when I took a look at it, I realized these were the top 4 things that were distracting me and were just sucking time out of my day. Now, number 1 was the phone. Just like a lot of other people, internet games, surfing the web, social media, any single thing that has to do with your phone, checking text messages, picking up phone calls, all of that stuff starts chewing up your time. And it's a habit that just happens. Second one was television. I was into Netflix and would start binge watching shows. And you start noticing that just one show turns into another, and before you know it, you've spent 2.5, 3 hours just sitting there watching TV. Now, this was another big one that I had no idea until I realized it, was disorganization. Now, me being disorganized, I spent so much time just looking around for what I wanted, what I needed. So if I'm looking around for a particular light that I need to shoot a video, if I'm looking around for a particular power cord, this also happens in a digital format as well. So if your desktop on your computer is disorganized, there's like 100 different icons on there, you're going to spend a lot of time just searching around for what it is that you need. If you don't have an organized filing system, you're going to be searching around for that one piece of paper that you need and searching for stuff that you misplaced, that you don't know where it is reliably, will chew up tons of time. Literally hours will be spent searching for stuff that if you were just a little more organized, you would be able to find like that. The last one, interestingly enough, was overwork. See, one of the biggest things that is going to make you more powerful and allow you to get more done during the day is making sure that you're taking regular breaks. Now, it seems a little counterintuitive, but stick with me here. When you take a break, you give your mind a chance to disengage. It allows you to relax and to kind of get moving, get your body in a different position, get your mind in a different place, and then you can come back and you're more powerful than you would be if you're just trying to sit there and just grind hour after hour after hour. And if you try and grind hour after hour and you don't take breaks, you're going to start noticing your mind going into overload, where you can't think as clearly, where things start taking longer to create, where you're not as powerful as you could be. This is for people that end up trying to work 12-hour days, 15-hour days, and there's a point where there's diminishing returns, where you just don't have the mental capacity anymore to give 100%. And it's at those places where it just starts chewing up time because you're getting frustrated, you're sitting there, you can't concentrate, and yet you force yourself to continue trying to focus on something long after your attention is gone. And it just starts chewing up hours and hours of time with something that produces nothing of value. It's unproductive work. So make sure that you're taking your breaks throughout the day. Schedule breaks in between work sessions, and you're going to notice you get a lot more done. Realize it's not the amount of time you spend doing something during the day, but how effective and how much it moves you closer to your goals. It's all dependent on how you spend your time, not the amount that you invest into it. So let's take this for an example. Let's say that you're creating a flyer and it takes you 2 hours to do it. Some people it takes more because they're sitting there taking an hour or two just to decide on what font it is, or taking another hour or two just to decide on the color scheme, and then trying to figure out what the copy is going to say, and trying to make a decision on which picture is going to go in there. And before you know it, you've spent 5 or 6 hours designing a flyer. Now, would it be better to put that 2 to 6 hours into designing a flyer, or put that 2 to 6 hours into reaching out and contacting new clients for business? Which one do you think is going to grow your business faster? Reaching out to clients, actually making that one-on-one contact and soliciting business from them. Now, while that flyer might produce some business, we don't have any idea on how much business it's going to produce. You also have to factor in the time of printing up the flyers, being able to go distribute the flyers wherever that's going to be, if you're putting them on doors, if you're putting them under windshields, if you're dropping them off at certain places. So you realize you could invest 6 hours creating a flyer, or you could invest 6 hours actually reaching out to new clients, starting to call people, starting to show up and knock on doors, whatever the case may be, but realizing that it's not about the amount of time you put into it, it's the quality of work that you actually put into it. A high leverage action versus low leverage action. Creating a flyer is low leverage. We're never really sure how much it's going to produce, and it's most likely not going to produce as much as if you went out and started making one-on-one contact with new clients. This was something that was really eye-opening for me. Somebody had once told me that millionaires and billionaires all have the exact same amount of time in the day as you and I do, which is completely true. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, any of them, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, every single one of them has the exact same amount of time in the day as both you and I do. Now, the question is what are you spending that time on? They're spending their time very differently than the normal person is spending their time. If your business is not growing the way you want it to, the question is, where are you spending your time? Are you spending it on growth creating activities, or are you spending it on the stuff that really doesn't matter? Here's the problem with time sucking habits. The biggest thing is that you don't know you're doing it until you're in the middle of it. And then once you're in the middle of it, it's hard to stop. So one of the things that I used to do is when I was scrolling my phone, I would be scrolling social media or playing a game or whatever that would be. And I would look at the time, and the time would be, say, 4:34. And so I would tell myself, I'm going to give myself till 4:40 to play or do whatever I'm going to do, and then I'm going to get off the phone. And then I would look up at the time, and it would be 4:41. 1 minute past where I said I was going to quit. And then my mind would tell me, all right, let's just go to 4:45 then, and then we'll call it even there. And then all of a sudden, it was 4:50. And then I've thought, okay, it's already 4:50. Let's just go till 5 o'clock, and then we're going to shut this off and do something productive on what I need to do. Then 5:01 would roll around. Then 5:05. Then 5:10 and 5:15. And it was just so much easier to keep doing what I was doing, which was scrolling on the phone, rather than it was to put the phone down and go and get some actual work done. And if you've ever experienced this before, and I bet you have, this is just how habits work. It's a lot easier for you to continue doing what you're already doing than it is for you to stop and start doing something else. So when you start looking at it and saying, I've just got to have the willpower to push through and to do what I need to do, and you realize the more times you have to use your willpower, the less and less energy you're going to have, because it takes a lot of energy to stop doing one thing and start doing what you need to be. So here's the best thing that I've found in order to make sure that becomes a non-issue. And that is Don't put yourself in the place of temptation in the first place. Don't put yourself in an environment where you have to say no. So for this example of when I was scrolling on my phone, now I can either put my phone into airplane mode or just leave it outside the room completely. Because if it's not sitting next to me, I have nothing to check and I can continue focusing on what's going to get me to grow my business, to get me more money, to get me closer to where I want to be. Because we're not distracted with something. Because once you get distracted, once you pick that phone up, once you turn that TV on and you start watching, it's harder and harder to stop because it's easier for you to just keep doing what it is you're already doing. So make sure that that doesn't happen in the first place. Put it away. Make sure that it's nowhere near you because it's a lot easier for you to be successful when you don't have that distraction. When you rid yourself of those temptations around you, you've got a lot better opportunity to stay focused on what it is you're doing and make a decision to work on what's going to get you to where you want to be. So last thing, here's some homework for you today. Take tomorrow and start tracking everything you do during the day. Now, it doesn't have to be specific. It doesn't have to be like I was looking at Facebook for 35 minutes and stuff, right? Just put phone, 30 minutes. You look at it again, check out the time. Phone, another 30 minutes. You're surfing on the internet, doing nothing. Computer, 30 minutes. Internet, whatever the amount of time was that you were doing it. You're looking at you're watching TV. You're spending time looking for something that you don't have. You're spending time disorganized. You're spending time that you realize is not productive because you haven't taken breaks. Whatever it is, write it down. Because when you can take a look at it and you see where your time is going, now you've got a better idea on what habits to start working on. Whether you can change those habits completely, what you can do to put yourself in a different environment. You have an idea of what's taking the time. So now you know where to start looking to grab that time and take it back. It's going to be super exciting when you can get 2, 3, 5 hours back during the day from all of those bad habits that have been holding you back for years. I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's video. And until then, take action now.